Soft dawn mists curl like gentle ribbons above the walled garden, quietly veiling the sleeping blooms in silvery grey. The ancient stone wall, mottled with moss and lichen, gathers beads of dew along its crevices. Under the arching boughs of a pear tree, the baker's wife steps lightly, her linen apron brushing against her gown, whispering as she moves. Her fingers, slender and nimble, trail across the damp wooden gate, cool and rough beneath her touch. With every breath, she inhales the fresh, earthy aroma of wetted soil and the faint sweetness of violets pushing bravely through the grass. The softest birdsong twitters from the hedgerow, a robin's gentle notes threading through the hush. The world beyond the garden is muffled, distant, held at bay by old red bricks. All is safe here, and time seems to slow under the watchful mist, waiting for the day to gently unfold. Inside the kitchen, a golden glow flickers from a beeswax candle, its scent mingling with the faint trace of last evening's rosemary bread. The baker's wife moves gracefully, her woolen shawl drawn close against the morning chill, threads just slightly rough at her wrists. The wooden table, scarred and beloved, holds an array of earthenware bowls, each waiting patiently for purpose. On the window ledge, a sprig of lavender rests beside an old letter tied with blue ribbon, its paper softened by the years. The tick of the brass clock on the mantelpiece is the only sound, steady, reassuring. Outside, the gentle patter of rain taps at the leaded glass panes, a soothing rhythm. She inhales deeply, the air rich with the promise of yeast and flour, and she smiles, grateful for the quiet rituals that begin each day in this warm, fragrant haven. Her hands, lightly dusted with flour, reach for the heavy stoneware jar where the family's sourdough starter slumbers beneath a muslin cloth. The jar is cool and sturdy, its glaze softly crackled from years of use. She lifts the cloth, breathing in the tangy, living scent within, a perfume of quiet patience, the slow work of wild yeasts and thyme. With a wooden spoon, she stirs the bubbling mixture, feeling its gentle resistance, like velvet with a life of its own. Each swirl is a promise of bread to come, of comforting slices, warm from the hearth. She pauses, fingers lingering on the rim, listening to the rain serenade outside and the soft creak of the house as it wakes. In this slow moment, the world feels small and tender, cradled in the arms of the old stone walls. She gathers her ingredients with loving care, measuring each with the practiced precision born of years, wheat and flour sifted into a wooden bowl, its texture fine and cool, like sifted silk. Clear spring water, stored in a hand-blown glass jug, glimmers with the last traces of dawn's light. Salt, coarse and white as sea foam, sparkles between her thumb and forefinger. She pours, pinches, and stirs, the movements gentle, unhurried. The bowl's curved interior cradles the dough as her hands knead, pressing, folding, drawing the mixture together until it becomes supple, elastic, alive. A few stray flecks of flour cling to her sleeve. The scent of rising dough mingles with the faint aroma of wood smoke drifting from the old iron stove, a promise that, soon, all will be warmth and nourishment. She wraps the mound of dough in a linen cloth, the fabric soft and well-worn, embroidered at the corners with tiny forget-me-nots. The dough will rest now, rising quietly in the dim warmth beside the hearth, as she moves to the window to gaze into the walled garden once more. Tiny droplets of rain spatter the glass, making everything beyond seem blurred and gentle. In the herb border, sage and thyme glisten, their leaves cupping pearls of water. The sight fills her with calm, a hush before the bustle of the village day. Beneath the window, her cat, a striped tabby, curls on a braided rag rug, its fur rising and falling with each slow breath. The world is peaceful, every corner softened by the mist and the promise of freshly baked bread. A small kettle whistles softly atop the stove, steam curling upwards to fog the window pane. The baker's wife selects her favorite porcelain cup, delicate and painted with a garland of wild roses. She scoops fragrant loose-leaf tea from a blue and white caddy, letting the dried leaves tumble into the waiting pot. As she pours the hot water, the steam rises, carrying with it the scent of bergamot and orange blossom, bright and soothing. She wraps both hands around the cup, feeling the comforting warmth seep into her skin. Outside, the rain's patter becomes a gentle lullaby. For these few moments, she allows herself to simply be, to watch tiny rivulets trickle down the glass, each one catching glints of early light. The quiet is a blessing, deep and slow as the unfolding dawn. She settles at the kitchen table, the porcelain cup nestled between her palms. On the table's edge, a small basket of mending weights, a linen chemise, a pair of woolen stockings in need of darning, and a child's pinafore embroidered with tiny marigolds. She threads her needle with smooth, waxed thread, the familiar motion comforting and precise. The needle slips through linen with a faint, satisfying whisper, drawing the fabric together with patient care. The baker's wife finds peace in these small acts of restoration, each stitch a quiet affirmation of love. Overhead, she hears the soft, familiar creak of floorboards as her little daughter stirs awake in the room above, the sound mingling with the slow, steady tick of the clock and the distant song of the morning lark. With her needlework set aside for now, she rises to check on the dough. Lifting the linen, she inhales its yeasty perfume, warm, slightly tangy, alive with possibility. Her fingertips press gently into its surface, feeling its springy resilience. Satisfied, she shapes the dough into rounds on a floured board, her movements unhurried and sure. She scores each loaf with a sharp blade, tracing a simple, swirling pattern that will blossom as the bread bakes. The oven, already warming the kitchen with its mellow glow, awaits. She slides the loaves inside, the heavy door shutting with a soft thud. The first hint of baking bread begins to drift through the air, a scent like home, like comfort, like everything gentle and good. She sighs, content, and returns to her quiet preparations. Outside, the mist has begun to lift just slightly, thinning to reveal the walled garden's rich tapestry of color. Delicate pink primroses nestle at the feet of box hedges, while shy bluebells nod beneath the greengage tree. The baker's wife steps out, her shawl drawn close, slippers barely making a sound on the damp flagstones. She stoops to gather a handful of fresh mint, the leaves cool and glossy, their aroma bright and invigorating. She brushes droplets from the frilled heads of lettuces growing in neat rows, marvels at the tiny emerald beads strung along each blade of grass. The garden is a living poem, each flower, leaf, and stem a stanza, each breath of air a line. She inhales deeply, feeling the quiet joy of tending a patch of earth that answers her care with such gentle bounty. She lingers beneath the shelter of the old pear tree, its branches heavy with dew-damp leaves. The tree's bark is rough beneath her palm, furrowed with age and memory. She remembers planting snowdrops here years ago, the bulbs nestled deep in chilly soil, trusting in the promise of spring. Now, in the hush of morning, she finds a scattering of white petals at her feet, a soft, silent carpet. She closes her eyes, listening to the hush, the quiet heartbeat of the garden, the distant call of a wood pigeon, the slow, steady rhythm of her own breath. In this lull, the world feels limitless, yet utterly safe. Here, in the embrace of stone and green, she allows herself to rest, heart and mind drifting like the mist, slow and peaceful as sleep itself. The kitchen's warmth beckons once more, drawing her back from the misty garden. She hangs her shawl on a peg by the hearth, its wool holding a faint aroma of thyme and wood smoke. Her daughter, soft of voice and bright of eye, tiptoes into the room, hair a tumble of honey curls. The baker's wife kneels to smooth a stray lock, her touch gentle, and the child's nightdress, made of fine cambric, rustles softly. They share a quiet smile, a wordless greeting shaped by years of love. The child clambers onto a chair, swinging her feet while her mother slices a rosy apple, its flesh crisp, juice beading along the knife's edge. Together, they watch rain trace lazy patterns on the window, the silence between them a golden thread, sweet and strong. The baker's wife prepares a simple breakfast, a loaf of yesterday's brown bread, sliced thick, its crust still faintly spicy with caraway, and a pat of fresh churned butter, pale as cream. She spreads the butter with the back of a silver spoon, watching it melt into the warm crumb. Her daughter reaches for a spoonful of gooseberry jam, its green gold jelly flecked with tiny seeds, tart and sweet. The table is set with blue-striped linen napkins, a chip pitcher of milk, and a bowl of sugared blackberries. They eat slowly, savoring each bite. Outside, the rain eases, and a stray shaft of pale sunlight slips through the clouds, gilding the kitchen in honeyed light. The baker's wife feels gratitude for these unhurried mornings, for simple harvests and laughter shared over bread. Breakfast finished, mother and child clear the table together, their hands brushing in companionable silence. The baker's wife rinses the crockery in cool water, scented faintly with soapwort, her sleeves rolled just above her elbows. The child offers a tea towel, its cotton soft and faded from many washings, and the two dry each plate with gentle care. The kitchen window steams gently, framing the garden beyond, ivy climbing the wall, a robin perched on the watering can's handle, tail flicking. In a bowl on the windowsill, eggs gathered the day before catch the light, their shells pale blue, dappled brown, and ivory white, a quiet reminder of the hen's industry in the coop beyond. The morning's chores are small, their rhythm a comfort, a song of gentle purpose. Now the child is content with a picture book, a collection of woodcut illustrations bound in faded leather, its pages soft and foxed with age. The baker's wife draws her work table close to the window, where daylight is brightest. She prepares a tray for seed sorting, spreading a cloth the color of cream and arranging tiny packets of marigold, poppy, and sweet pea seeds. Her fingers sift the delicate, papery envelopes, each rustling like the whisper of wind through tall grass. She tips a handful of tiny black seeds into her palm, feeling their smooth, cool weight. A moment's pause, a careful glance outdoors, and she imagines the flowers they will become, blazes of color, humming with bees, a living tapestry of summer's promise. She smiles, content in this gentle planning, this quiet hope. She opens the back door and steps into the now softening morning, the last remnants of mist drifting like veils between the espaliered apple trees. Her shoes press into the damp soil, the earth yielding, forgiving. The walled garden, protected on all sides, feels like its own small world. In the herb beds, she tucks seeds into the dark, cool earth, fingers nimble and sure, movement slow and meditative. She murmurs a blessing as she works, a habit from her mother before her. The memory of those hands, steady, loving, brings a quiet smile. The soil smells rich, alive, promising new life. She smooths each row with the side of her palm, feeling the pulse of the growing year beneath her skin. A blackbird trills from atop the wall, its notes bright and clear, and the garden seems to breathe with her. With the seed sown, she stands to stretch, surveying her quiet domain. The garden's borders are dusted in emerald, cress, parsley, and chive shoots peeking above the soil, their green a hopeful contrast to the grey stone. Beyond the kitchen window, steam curls gently from the oven vent, carrying the first real hint of fresh bread into the garden. She closes her eyes, savoring the symphony of scents, earth and rain and baking bread, weaving together in a tapestry of comfort. Her fingers brush the smooth, cool leaves of a bay laurel as she passes, and she plucks a sprig to hang beside the kitchen door. The air is soft, the world quiet, every breath slow and steady with the promise of a gentle day unfolding. The sun lifts a little higher, dissolving the last wisps of mist. The kitchen is filled now with golden light, shafts falling across the flagstone floor in gentle stripes. The baker's wife removes her loaves from the oven, the crusts crackling, blushing deep brown. She places them on the cooling rack, the scent filling every corner, a mingling of toasted grain and warmth, rich and utterly comforting. She brushes the tops with a little melted butter, watching it glisten and soak in. The sound of the crust as she taps it, hollow and promising, is a quiet pleasure. She cuts a thin heel from one loaf, steam rising, and cannot resist a small taste. The bread is soft, chewy, faintly sweet from the milled wheat and sourdough's patient magic. The taste is of home, of morning, of contentment. She wraps the loaves carefully in clean linen, arranging them in a willow basket lined with sprigs of rosemary. The fabric is soft as a sigh, the rosemary scent sharp and green, a promise of freshness. These loaves will travel to neighbors and to the little bakery shop at the edge of the lane. She ties the basket's handles with a length of ribbon, rose pink, worn in places from many mornings just like this one. Her daughter, now dressed in a faded blue frock, helps to gather twine and paper for wrapping smaller rolls. They work side by side, laughter and gentle chatter weaving between them. The table is scattered with crumbs and flour, a testament to their shared industry. Every parcel is tied with care, every loaf touched by love, destined to bring comfort to another home. The cool air outside is scented with damp grass and awakening roses as the baker's wife and her daughter step through the garden gate, their basket swinging gently. The flagstones are wet beneath their feet, shining like polished marble in the new sunlight. A neighbor's cat, sleek and ginger, slips along the wall, pausing to accept a gentle scratch behind the ears. The lane beyond the garden is quiet but alive with subtle sounds, the distant clop of hooves, the call of a milkman, the cooing of doves in the churchyard. The baker's wife walks slowly, conscious of her daughter's shorter steps, the little hand curled trustingly in hers. They share a quiet, contented silence as they make their way towards the bakery, the world feeling wide but safe and familiar, like the embrace of a favorite quilt. At the bakery's door, the scent of warm bread mingles with the faint sharpness of yeast and the sweetness of honey cakes cooling on wire racks. The shop is a cozy space, walls lined with shelves of fragrant loaves, baskets of buns dusted with cinnamon, and great wheels of cheese stacked alongside earthen jars of preserves. The baker, broad-shouldered and kind-eyed, greets them with a gentle smile, flour dusted along his sleeves, laughter soft in his eyes. Together, they place the still-warm loaves on the counter, the wood smooth and honeyed from years of careful polish. The daughter is gifted a small currant bun, still steaming, and she hugs it with delight. The family shares a moment of quiet pride, the fruits of their labor glowing in the golden morning light. With the shop in order, the baker's wife arranges a small bowl of posies, violets, primroses, and wild parsley at the shop's window, the colors bright against the cool glass. The blooms catch the attention of a passing neighbor, Mrs. Ashworth, who pauses to admire the arrangement. The two women exchange quiet greetings, voices low and warm, discussing the weather, the progress of the garden, and the health of loved ones. Mrs. Ashworth presses a folded note into the baker's wife's hand, a recipe for elderflower cordial, a small kindness shared. They smile, their connection threaded with years of gentle friendship. The moment lingers, sweet as the scent of blossoms and bread, as the day's first customers slip softly through the door, bringing the mild bustle of gentle commerce. The baker's wife tends the counter, her hands moving with unhurried grace as she wraps loaves in brown paper, ties them with string, and offers each customer a warm, welcoming word. The shop's interior glows with reflected light, sunbeams glinting off glass jars of marmalade, the copper scales polished to a mellow gleam. A young mother comes in with her toddler, who clings shyly to her skirts. The baker's wife offers the child a single sugared plum, placing it carefully in a palm small as a sparrow. Gratitude shines in the mother's tired eyes. In these small exchanges, the baker's wife finds quiet meaning, a belief that every day is shaped by such gentle gifts, kindnesses woven through the rhythm of ordinary hours, making each one precious. The gentle bustle of the morning ebbs and flows. The baker's wife pauses to gaze out the shop window, watching the world drift by, a farmer's cart rattling past, the milliner's apprentice hurrying with a hat box, a friendly collie trotting after its master. The village is waking fully now, yet the air is still soft, the day young. Her daughter kneels by the door, intent on arranging a row of polished conkers along the threshold. The baker's wife smiles at this small act of decoration, delighting in the child's creativity. She remembers her own girlhood, gathering wildflowers in meadows, braiding grasses into rings, the simplicity of joy found in creation. The present and the past feel close, braided together like the loaves cooling behind her, warm and whole. A lull settles over the bakery as the morning's rush gives way to a hush. The baker's wife pours herself a cup of tea, the pot kept warm atop the stove. She stands by the open window, breathing in the mingled scents of bread, fresh-cut grass, and the faintest trace of lilac from a bush in the vicarage garden across the lane. She sips, feeling the heat bloom through her chest, the gentle bitterness of the tea chased by a spoonful of honey. A soft breeze stirs the flour dust on the flagstones, cool and refreshing. She closes her eyes, letting the moment wash over her, a minute's peace, a deep, quiet breath. The world seems to pause, held in perfect, gentle balance. A small bell above the bakery door jingles, and in walks an elderly gentleman, his coat patched and his hat slightly askew. He offers a shy, grateful smile as he purchases a half-loaf and a slice of treacle tart. The baker's wife adds an extra roll to his parcel, a silent kindness for which his eyes grow moist. He murmurs his thanks, voice quavering with emotion, and she responds with a gentle squeeze of his hand. Watching him leave, she feels the weight and wonder of community, the way lives brush together like threads in a tapestry, each day a new motif, each gesture a stitch. The shop's warmth deepens, the sense of belonging threading through everyone who passes its threshold. Later, the baker's wife finds a moment to read the note pressed into her hand earlier. She sits by the window, the paper smoothed across her lap, the handwriting familiar and looping. The recipe is charmingly detailed: elderflowers gathered at dawn, lemon zest sliced thin as ribbon, a handful of sugar, water from the village well. She smiles, picturing Mrs. Ashworth in her own kitchen, apron tied neatly, hand steady and wise. This exchange of recipes feels like a ritual, an invisible bond between women who share the quiet arts of home. She tucks the note safely into her recipe book, its pages crowded with the wisdom and creativity of generations, each one a monument to care and resourcefulness. With the bakery quiet, she steps outside for a moment, into the half-shaded lane. The air is sweet and still, the last of the morning's dew shimmering on cobblestones. She watches as the village children skip rope, their laughter distant but soft, a melody woven through the hush. An old horse grazes in the meadow beyond, clouds of breath rising from its nostrils. The baker's wife inhales the moment, the mix of hay and wild mint on the breeze, the sun warming her cheeks. She settles onto a low stone wall, skirt pooling around her, and closes her eyes. The world is gentle, the hours unhurried, her thoughts drifting like the clouds above, slow and peaceful. Returning inside, she tidies the shelves, dusting jars of dried lavender, honeycomb, and barley sugar. Each container tells a small story: the lavender gathered from her own garden, bundled and hung to dry in the warm attic, the honey from a neighbor's hives, thick and golden, flecked with bits of wax, the barley sugar twisted into sticks, shining like amber. She arranges each with care, the glass cool beneath her fingers, the scents mingling in the air, floral, sweet, homely. She finds pleasure in this order, in the beauty of simple things arranged with thought and love. The shop feels like a sanctuary, each object a quiet blessing, each day a page in a gentle, unfolding story. The baker's wife writes a quick letter on creamy paper, her pen gliding smoothly, ink black and glossy. She addresses it to her sister, far away in Bath, sharing news of the garden, the bakery, and the daily joys of village life. Her words are slow and careful, each stroke a reflection of her mood, peaceful, content. She tucks a pressed pansy into the fold, a small token of spring's arrival, and seals the letter with a dab of blue wax. As she holds the envelope, she thinks of her sister's laughter, the softness of her embrace, and feels a pang of longing, gentle and sweet. Even across distance, these small rituals keep their bond alive, a thread of love that endures. Outside, the church bell tolls the hour, its note soft and mellow, echoing through the village like a lullaby. The baker's wife listens, letting the sound settle in her chest, a gentle reminder of the day's rhythm. She draws a shawl about her shoulders and prepares to return home, our basket now empty, heart full. Her daughter skips at her side, clutching a half-eaten currant bun. They walk slowly through the lane, past gardens edged with violets, past windows bright with lace curtains and pots of geranium. Each step is a meditation, familiar and comforting. As they reach their own gate, the walled garden welcomes them with open arms, its peace undisturbed, its beauty quietly waiting. Home once more, the baker's wife removes her bonnet, smoothing her hair with careful fingers. She hangs her coat on a peg by the door, its wool still smelling faintly of rain and rosemary. Her daughter races ahead, eager to return to her picture book, while the cat stretches luxuriously on the sun-warmed window seat. The kitchen is awash in gentle light, the flagstones dappled with gold. On the hearth, a kettle murmurs softly, promising tea. The baker's wife moves about the room, opening the back door to let in the sweet, green air. The walled garden beyond is tranquil, each leaf and flower glistening in the noon sun. She stands for a moment on the threshold, grateful for the stillness, for the sense of sanctuary this little world provides. She prepares a midday meal, simple, nourishing, a celebration of the garden's gifts. She plucks a handful of radishes, their skins ruby red, their leaves crisp. In the kitchen, she slices them thinly, arranging them on a platter with curls of fresh butter, sprigs of parsley, and wedges of pale, crumbly cheese. A loaf of her morning bread sits at the center, its crust flecked with rosemary, its crumbs soft and aromatic. She pours a little cider into a glass, the liquid sparkling amber in the sunlight. Her daughter joins her, and together they eat, savoring each bite, the peppery bite of radish, the coolness of butter, the rich earthiness of bread. The meal is quiet, each mouthful a small, gentle celebration of plenty. Afterwards, they wash the dishes together at the scullery sink, the water warmed by the sun, scented faintly with marjoram and soapweight. The daughter giggles as she chases a bubble across the surface, her laughter as light as the day itself. The baker's wife dries each plate with a flour sack cloth, the fabric soft and thick between her fingers. The window above the sink is open, letting in the sound of bees humming in the lavender and the gentle clatter of sparrows bathing in a clay saucer. The tasks are small, shared, and meaningful. Every dish stacked, every towel hung, is a quiet act of care, a piece of the gentle rhythm that shapes their days. The kitchen glows, a heart of light and warmth. The afternoon stretches ahead, unhurried, filled with the promise of small tasks and quiet joy. The baker's wife gathers her embroidery hoop, her thread box a riot of jewel tones, sapphire, emerald, rose, and gold. She settles into the chair beside the window, the cushion beneath her an old friend, the fabric patched but dearly loved. Her needle flashes gently in the sunlight as she works a spray of wild strawberries onto the corner of a tablecloth. Each stitch is small and precise, the linen cool beneath her touch, the thread gliding smoothly. She loses herself in the repetition, in the slow birth of pattern and color, the world narrowing to the dance of needle and thread, the soft breath of her daughter beside her. Her daughter, inspired by her mother's focus, draws pictures with colored pencils, careful outlines of daisies, butterflies, and the family cat. The baker's wife pauses to admire each drawing, her praise quiet but sincere. She remembers her own mother's encouragement, the gentle guidance of hands and heart. These moments, the sharing of art, the quiet companionship, are treasures, woven into the fabric of her days. The light shifts, painting the kitchen walls in pale gold and blue. Bees drift in and out of the open window, their wings a low, soothing drone. Outside, the garden basks in the afternoon sun, a patchwork of shadow and light, every leaf and petal radiant with quiet life. She sets aside her needlework and fetches a basket, ready to gather more herbs from the garden. The handle is smooth from years of use, the willow cool and pliant beneath her palm. She steps into the afternoon, the garden alive with color and perfume, clumps of sage and thyme, a tangle of sweet peas, marigolds nodding in the breeze. She snips rosemary, its scent sharp and invigorating, and mint, cool and bright. The basket fills with green abundance, each stem a promise of flavor, healing, and comfort. She breathes deeply, letting the scent settle in her chest, grounding her. The air is soft, the light slanting, shadows lengthening across the lawn. The world feels slow, rooted, utterly safe. Returning to the kitchen, she bundles the herbs with twine, hanging them from the beams to dry. The scents mingle in the warm air, an apothecary's dream, both practical and magical. She arranges a few sprigs in a china jug on the dresser, the blue and white glaze cool and smooth, the herbs bright against the porcelain. She takes a moment to polish the jug with a corner of her apron, fingers moving in slow, loving circles. The kitchen is quiet, the only sounds the ticking of the clock and the low murmur of her daughter reading aloud. The baker's wife feels the gentle weight of contentment, a sense of belonging, her world shaped by care and beauty in small, daily things. A soft knock comes at the door. A neighbor, Mrs. Greaves, arrives carrying a basket of fresh-laid eggs, their shells dappled and warm from the nest. The women exchange news of their gardens, sharing tips for keeping slugs at bay and encouraging the beans to climb higher. Mrs. Greaves admires the newly embroidered cloth, her fingers tracing the delicate strawberries, her praise sincere and warming. The baker's wife offers a slice of apple cake, rich with cinnamon and currants, its crumb tender and fragrant. They sit together at the kitchen table, the conversation easy, laughter soft, the teapot steaming between them. The simple pleasures of company and shared work fill the kitchen with a quiet, golden joy. As Mrs. Greaves departs, the baker's wife lingers at the door, watching her friend disappear down the lane, the basket swinging on her arm. The afternoon sun has turned the world to honey, the stone wall glowing, the grass luminous, each flower a small lamp. The kitchen feels peaceful, the air tinged with the echo of laughter and the memory of kind words. She turns back inside, arranging the eggs in a willow trug, their colors like a painter's palette, blue, cream, pale brown, warm as the earth itself. She smooths her apron, the linen warm from her body, and stands for a moment in the quiet, listening to the slow, steady beat of her own heart. She prepares a new batch of dough, her movements almost musical now, measuring flour, sprinkling salt, mixing water, coaxing the mixture into life. The dough is silky beneath her hands, yielding, strong. Sunlight falls across the table, highlighting the dusting of flour, the scattered grains, the shine of her wedding band. She kneads in a rhythm as old as time, pressing her hopes and cares into the bread, each turn a promise of nourishment and love. Her daughter joins her, hand small and eager, shaping rolls with imperfect but earnest care. The kitchen is filled with quiet happiness, the future rising gently with each loaf, the day unfolding like a well-loved recipe. The dough is set aside to rise, covered with a tea towel embroidered with violets. The baker's wife wipes the table clean with a damp cloth, her movement slow and thoughtful. The cloth is soft, the wood beneath it warm, each stroke smoothing both surface and spirit. She looks up to see her daughter arranging wildflowers into a miniature bouquet, bluebells, daisies, and sprigs of cow parsley, their colors soft in the afternoon light. The sight fills her with tenderness, a fierce, protective love. She remembers her own mother's lessons, how to arrange flowers, how to find joy in the smallest things. The kitchen, fragrant and bright, feels like the center of the world, a place where all is possible, all is well. Stepping outside again, the baker's wife visits the beehive at the garden's edge. The hive is painted pale blue, tucked among lavender and foxglove, the bees busy and serene. She kneels, watching them work, small, golden bodies darting from blossom to blossom, legs dusted with pollen. The hum is gentle, a calming drone that soothes her thoughts. She thinks of the honey they'll gather, thick and golden, a taste of summer's bounty saved for winter days. The sun is warm on her back, the grass cool beneath her knees. She closes her eyes, letting the peace of the moment settle deep within, the world reduced to sunlight, bees, and the slow, steady rhythm of breath and life. she rises and admires the rows of vegetables, broad beans, carrots, onions, all thriving in the rich soil. Their leaves catch the sun, their roots hidden, swelling with promise. She stoops to pull a handful of young carrots, brushing the earth from their slender bodies, their scent sweet and green. A robin flutters to the path, cocking its head, bold and curious. She scatters a few crumbs for it and smiles as it hops closer. The garden is filled with gentle industry, ants marching, butterflies drifting, the slow growth of plants unseen but certain. She takes a moment to simply stand, breathing in the warm air, the scent of earth and green things, feeling herself a part of this quiet, ceaseless cycle. Back in the kitchen, she rinses the newly gathered carrots in a stone basin, the water cool and clear. She lines them up on a board, orange, slender, tipped with feathery green. She slices a few, the knife gliding smoothly, the scent fresh and sharp. Her daughter nibbles a piece, giggling at the crunch. The baker's wife prepares a simple soup, the carrots joined by onion, a handful of peas, a sprig of thyme. The pot simmers on the stove, filling the air with a savory perfume. She stirs, tasting and adjusting, her movement slow and attentive. Each bubble, each rising curl of steam, is a quiet reassurance. Here, in this kitchen, all is nourishment, warmth, and care. She sets the table for supper, laying out mismatched plates with care, china edged in faded blue, a bowl with a tiny crack, a silver spoon polished bright. The linen napkins are folded, sprigs of rosemary tucked into each. She slices thick wedges of bread, arranges cheese, an apple on a platter, pours cider into tumblers. Her daughter helps, arranging the carrots in a pale green bowl, placing a posy of sweet peas at the center. The setting sun spills gold across the table, everything touched by its gentle light. The meal, when it comes, is eaten slowly, quietly, a celebration of the day's work, the garden's gifts, the love that fills every corner of their home. After supper, the baker's wife and her daughter clear the table together, stacking plates, folding linens, sweeping crumbs from the floor. The kitchen glows in the soft evening light, the air rich with the mingled scents of bread, soup, and herbs. The cat curls on the hearth, paws tucked beneath, eyes half closed. The baker's wife washes the last of the dishes, the water warm, bubbles clinging to her skin. She wipes her hands on her apron, the linen damp now, and breathes in the peace of the moment. The world outside is quiet, shadows lengthening across the garden, birds settling in the hedge. Inside, everything is calm, safe, and full of quiet purpose. To mark the day's end, she lights a fresh beeswax candle, its flame small and bright, scenting the air with honey and wildflowers. She dims the lamp, letting the candle's glow fill the kitchen with a golden hush. Her daughter sits at her feet, threading beads onto a length of string, her concentration deep, hand steady. The baker's wife strokes her child's hair, each strand soft and fine as silk. She remembers her own childhood evenings, the warmth of her mother's lap, the comfort of stories shared by firelight. Outside, the first stars appear in the deepening sky. The world narrows to a circle of light and love, the rest of the village fading softly into night. The baker's wife fetches her writing box, its wood dark and smooth, the brass fittings softly worn. She pens a few lines in her diary, recording the day's small joys, a perfect loaf, a new bloom in the garden, the kindness of neighbors. Her daughter draws beside her, filling a page with flowers and smiling suns. The candle flickers, sending shadows dancing across the walls. The quiet is deep, companionable, each breath slow, each moment savored. She thinks of those who came before her, women who marked their days with the same quiet rituals, the same care for bread and hearth and home. Their memory lingers, a gentle presence guiding her hands, shaping her days. The baker returns home, his step slow, face tired but happy. He brings the scent of flour and wood smoke, the warmth of the bakery lingering in his hair. The family embraces, words few and soft. He lifts his daughter into his arms, her laughter bright and fleeting as a bird's song. They sit together by the fire, sharing stories of their day, the loaves baked, the garden tended, the small adventures found in ordinary hours. The baker's wife pours tea, the cups warm and fragrant in their hands. The fire's glow paints the room in shifting gold and amber. The world outside fades, leaving only this, family, warmth, and the gentle certainty of love. As dusk deepens, the baker's wife stirs a pot of chamomile tea, the blossoms pale yellow, their scent soothing and sweet. She pours the tea into delicate cups, steam curling gently in the cool air. Her daughter nestles in her lap, eyes growing heavy, fingers wrapped around a soft linen handkerchief. The baker hums a quiet tune, the melody simple and old, its notes weaving through the hush. The fire crackles low, the room filled with shadows and warmth. The baker's wife strokes her daughter's hair, her touch light as moth wings. She feels the slow falling away of the day's cares, the deepening calm that comes with evening, the quiet approach of sleep. Her daughter's breaths grow slow and even, lashes resting on rosy cheeks. The baker's wife lifts her gently, carrying her up the narrow stairs, the boards creaking softly beneath her feet. The child's room is small, cozy, a patchwork quilt on the bed, a shelf of wooden animals, the window framed by faded chintz curtains. She tucks her daughter in, smoothing the quilt, pressing a kiss to her brow. The scent of lavender drifts from a sachet under the pillow. She lingers for a moment, listening to the quiet rise and fall of her child's breathing, the peaceful hush that fills the room. Downstairs, lamplight glows, the world stilled, every corner of the house touched by rest. Back in the kitchen, the baker's wife sits quietly by the window, watching the last light fade from the garden. The sky is a tapestry of indigo and gold, the first stars pricking through the dusk. The candle's flame dances on the glass, reflected beside her own thoughtful face. She pours herself a final cup of tea, the porcelain warm, the scent of chamomile lingering. The cat curls beside her, soft and purring. She lets her mind wander, recalling the day's small blessings, the laughter of her daughter, the kindness of friends, the quiet beauty of bread rising in the oven. She sighs, content, feeling the gentle weight of gratitude settle around her shoulders like a shawl. Night settles gently over the village, the walled garden cloaked in soft shadow. The air is cool, tinged with the scent of damp earth and roses. The baker's wife steps outside for a final glance at her garden, the flagstones cold beneath her feet, the leaves whispering in the faint breeze. A moth flutters by, its wings pale as moonlight. She checks the beehive, finds all still, the bees safe within. She stands for a moment, hands folded, heart calm, listening to the quiet, a distant owl, the soft hush of wind through the pear tree. The world is peaceful, cocooned in darkness, each living thing at rest. Returning inside, she closes the door softly, drawing the bolt. The kitchen is shadowed but warm, the candles glow gentle. She tidies the last of the day's work, folding cloths, setting the bread box in order, brushing a stray crumb from the hearth. The wooden spoon, the stoneware bowl, the willow basket, all are put in their place, each object familiar and loved. She smooths her apron, hanging it on its peg, feeling the weight of the fabric, the memory of every task it has seen. The hush is deep, the house sighing into stillness. She breathes in, slow and full, letting the quiet fill her, the day's gentle labors complete. The baker's wife ascends the narrow stairs, each step soft in the candlelight. The linen of her nightdress is cool and smooth, the fabric whispering against her skin. In her room, she brushes her hair before the small mirror, the bristles gentle, rhythmic, soothing. She sets a dried rose in a china cup on the bedside table, its petals faded but fragrant, a memory of last summer's bloom. The bed is turned down, sheets crisp and cool, quilt featherlight. She sits for a moment, gazing out the window at the quiet garden below. The moon rises above the wall, silver and serene, casting a soft glow over the world. All is still, all is safe. She opens her keepsake box, lifting out a letter from her mother, written years ago in a careful, looping hand. The paper is soft, the ink faded to grey, the words a gentle benediction. Remember, my dear, every day holds a quiet blessing. The baker's wife traces the familiar script, feeling her mother's presence close and warm. She folds the letter, tucking it beneath her pillow, a charm against the dark. She lights a sprig of dried lavender in the saucer, the smoke fragrant, purifying. She breathes in the calming scent, the memories it conjures, childhood evenings, songs by candlelight, her mother's steady voice. The night deepens, gentle and sure. She sits at the window, gazing at the garden bathed in moonlight. The stone wall glows silver, the herbs casting long, delicate shadows. The pear tree stands sentinel, its branches laced with stars. She hears the distant church bell mark the hour, soft, slow, a lullaby for the village. The air is cool, the scent of earth and lavender drifting on the breeze. She lets her thoughts drift, remembering happy days, summer picnics in sun-dappled meadows, the laughter of sisters, the quiet pride of her first perfect loaf. Each memory is a feather-light touch, comforting and sweet. The world is hushed, suspended between waking and sleep, the night holding all in gentle arms. Before she slips into bed, the baker's wife writes a brief line in her diary. Today, I found joy in small things. She sets the book aside, feeling the truth of it settle deep inside. She smooths the quilt, its patchwork squares soft beneath her palms, pieces of old dresses, her daughter's first pinafore, her husband's work shirt, each square a memory held close. The cat finds its place at her feet, purring softly. She blows out the candle, the room fading to darkness, save for the moon's gentle light. She lies down, breath slowing, body heavy, a sense of peace wrapping her like a blanket. The night is quiet, the house safe. The house settles around her, each timber and stone familiar and dear. Downstairs, the fire sighs its last, embers glowing faintly in the dark. The wind moves gently outside, rattling the ivy on the garden wall. The world is silenced, every living thing at peace. The baker's wife lies still, listening to the soft sounds, the hush of her husband's breathing, the faint creak of the floorboards, the distant murmur of the river beyond the fields. Her mind drifts, thoughts dissolving into dreams of gardens and bread, laughter and song. Sleep approaches, slow and sure, like the turning of the earth, the opening of a flower at dawn. A gentle stillness pervades the house, each room wrapped in quiet shadow. The kitchen, now dark, holds the lingering scent of bread and herbs, of beeswax and wood smoke. The walled garden outside is a world of silence, each plant sleeping, the dew gathering anew on leaves and petals. The moon rides high, stars pricking the velvet sky. Within her bed, the baker's wife feels the pull of rest, a gentle tide, drawing her down. Her breath is slow and deep, matching the rhythm of the night. In the hush, she senses all the small, good things that fill her days, each one a blessing, each one a lullaby. The world fades, soft and safe. The clock downstairs strikes the hour, its chime muffled by distance and sleep. The sound is low, familiar, a marker of time's slow passage. The cat shifts, purring, then settles again, content. The air is cool, the bedsheets crisp, the quilt heavy with comfort. The baker's wife dreams of gardens in full bloom, of morning mist curling along old stone, of the taste of bread warm from the oven. Her mind floats above the worries of the world, anchored only to gentleness. The house sighs, a living thing, old and kind, each wall and window watching over its sleeping inhabitants. The night deepens, the peace profound, untouched. In her dreams, the baker's wife walks the garden paths, dew clinging to her slippers, the air fragrant with mint and rose. She gathers armfuls of herbs, tucks blossoms behind her ear, listens to the bees' low hum. The world is light, buoyant, a tapestry of green and gold and blue. The garden walls are warm beneath her hand, the sky wide and full of promise. She feels her mother's presence close, guiding her steps, whispering small encouragements. She pauses to breathe, to listen, to marvel at the quiet abundance around her. The dream is soft-edged, shimmering, woven from all the beauty of her waking hours. The dream garden changes, becoming a sunlit kitchen, windows thrown wide to the summer air. The scent of baking and wildflowers fills the room. She sees her daughter at the table, hands busily kneading dough, cheeks flushed with pride. The baker stands at the stove, humming an old tune, his eyes crinkled with happiness. The family gathers, sharing bread and stories, laughter spilling like sunlight. Every detail is vivid, the curve of a teacup, the pattern of the rug, the play of light on wooden beams. The world, in this dreaming, feels whole and good, every moment threaded with gentle joy. Still dreaming, the baker's wife receives a letter, a page of soft cream, the ink blue and bright, her sister's hand unmistakable. The words are full of love and news, of city gardens and old friends, of longing and hope. She holds the letter to her heart, grateful for the connection, the thread of kinship strong as ever. She imagines her sister's laughter, her clever hands arranging flowers, her voice cheerful and sure. Even in sleep, the bond is real, unbroken, a comfort in the quiet hours. The dream fades to mist, to music, to the slow breathing of the house at rest. The dream shifts again, she is once more in the garden at dawn, the mist silvering every leaf, every petal. The air is cool, fresh, alive with promise. She moves slowly, her feet bare on the damp grass, her hands trailing through rosemary and sage. The world is silent but for the steady drip of dew, the distant call of a bird. She feels the weight of sleep, the slow turning of thought to dream, the drift of heart and mind into rest. Each breath is deep, unhurried, safe. The night holds her, the garden a cradle of green and gold and memory. The house is quiet, the village still. The baker's wife floats between sleep and waking, aware only of comfort, the softness of linen, the warmth of the quilt, the gentle hush of night outside her window. She listens to the slow, even breathing of her husband, the faint twitch of the cat's paw. She feels herself sinking deeper, the worries of the day dissolving, her mind turning to gentle dreams. The moon drifts across the sky, painting the garden in silver. The air is cool, the world at peace. Her breath slows, matching the steady rhythm of night and sleep. The wind stirs the ivy on the garden wall, a soft rustle in the dark. Every leaf holds a drop of dew, every flower a memory of sun. The house is a haven, each room filled with the echoes of laughter, the scent of bread, the warmth of love. The baker's wife dreams on, her heart light, her body heavy. The night is long and gentle, sweeping her further into rest. Outside, a fox pads silently along the lane, unseen, untroubled. The world is safe, held close by darkness and quiet. Sleep deepens, night enfolding all in gentleness. The dream thickens, she sits by a fire in her childhood home, a basket of apples at her feet, her mother singing softly beside her. The room is warm, the walls bright with candlelight, the air thick with stories. She peels an apple, the skin curling away in a single, unbroken ribbon. Her mother's hand rests on her shoulder, steady and kind. The past and present blend, time slowing, every moment soft and cherished. She feels loved, protected, held. The fire crackles, the house sighs. The dream is a lullaby, sweet and slow, a song of home and belonging. The house, meanwhile, holds its quiet vigil. The embers on the hearth glow faintly, sending up the occasional spark. The clock ticks on, slow and sure, marking the passing hours. Outside, the garden rests, every stem and leaf heavy with sleep. The baker's wife lies still, her breathing deep, her dreams gentle. The world is wrapped in peace, the night unbroken. The house, the garden, the village, all are safe, all are held in the quiet arms of darkness. Tomorrow will bring new joys, new tasks, new beauty. For now, all is still, all is rest. The last of the candlelight flickers on the bedroom wall, the flame dancing in the cool air before fading into shadow. The baker's wife drifts on the edge of waking, her mind sinking, floating, weightless. She feels the softness of the sheets, the press of the pillow, the warmth of the cat curled against her feet. The house breathes around her, slow and deep. The garden waits, dew gathering, life suspended. The world is safe, the night a gentle shroud. All is well, all is calm. She lets herself slip further, the rhythm of breath and dream entwined, each moment softer than the last. The baker's wife lies in the darkness, heart slow, mind empty of thought. She listens to the night, the faint creak of a floorboard, the distant call of an owl, the whisper of wind through the leaves. The air is cool, the linen smooth, the quilt heavy and reassuring. Her dreams are vague, drifting, fields of wheat, sunlight on water, the taste of fresh bread still warm from the oven. The house is silent, the world stilled. Sleep deepens, each breath a little slower, a little softer, a little farther from waking. The night is endless, gentle, safe. The moon moves slowly across the sky, casting silver patterns through the bedroom window. The garden lies hushed, every petal and leaf softened by night. The baker's wife dreams of peaceful mornings, mist curling in the walled garden, birds calling softly, dew glittering on the grass. The world is light, cool, full of promise. The scent of rosemary lingers, the memory of kneaded dough, of hands shaping bread. She floats in this gentle space, halfway between sleep and waking, her heart light, her mind quiet. The world spins on, slow and sure, night holding her close. In the silence, only the softest sounds remain, the slow tick of the clock, the faint sigh of the wind, the quiet breathing of the house at rest. The baker's wife sleeps deeply, the worries of the day forgotten. Her dreams are slow and gentle, walking garden paths, sunlight falling warm on her face, the laughter of her child somewhere nearby. Time stretches, the night endless, comforting. The world is a cradle, the house a sanctuary. All is soft, all is safe, all is sleep. A candle flickers in the darkness, its flame a tiny promise against the night. The light dances on the walls, painting gentle patterns across the ceiling. The baker's wife lies still, her body heavy, her mind at peace. She listens to the quiet, a distant church bell, the soft patter of rain on the garden wall, the slow breathing of those she loves. The world is hushed, safe, wrapped in warmth and shadow. The candle burns low, the flame growing smaller, slower, softer. Sleep deepens, dreams swirl, time slows. All is gentle, all is calm. The house is silent, the garden cloaked in silver and green. A gentle wind stirs the branches, sending a few petals drifting to the earth below. Inside, the baker's wife stirs, her thoughts dissolving into dreams of bread and flowers, of quiet laughter, of cool hands pressing dough. The night is long, the world at rest. The candle's glow fades, the room sinking into darkness. All is still, all is safe, all is slow. The rhythm of breath and sleep carries her onward, deeper and deeper into rest. The stars wheel overhead, cold and bright, their light falling softly through the bedroom window. The garden is a pool of shadow, the pear tree black against the sky. The baker's wife sleeps, her body wrapped in warmth, her dreams gentle and slow. The house holds its breath, each stone and timber guarding her rest. The world is quiet, the air cool, the night endless. Sleep is a river, smooth and deep, carrying her far from worry, far from waking. All is calm, all is still, all is peace. The only sound is the slow, steady breathing of the house, the sigh of the rafters, the faint tick of the clock, the soft curl of the wind outside. The garden rests, the earth breathing, the plants dreaming of sun. The baker's wife is lost in sleep, her thoughts adrift, a walled garden, a loaf of bread, a gentle hand in hers. The night presses close, warm and safe. Sleep settles like mist, soft and cool, erasing every worry, every care. The world is hushed, the darkness deep, the peace profound. A single snowflake drifts down outside, landing softly on the garden wall, melting into silence. The world is white and still, the air crisp and clear. Inside, the house glows with the memory of warmth, bread baking, fire crackling, voices low and kind. The baker's wife lies dreaming, her heart full, her body heavy, her mind quiet. The night is endless, gentle, sure. Each breath is slow, each moment soft. The candle's flame flickers, then fades, leaving only darkness and sleep. All is calm, all is safe, all is rest. The old church bell sounds in the distance, its song slow and sweet, marking the passing hours. The baker's wife does not wake, the sound is a lullaby, woven into her dreams. The house is silent, the kitchen dark, the garden still. The world is at peace, each living thing wrapped in quiet. The night is deep, the darkness soft. The baker's wife drifts, her dreams gentle, fields of wheat, the echo of laughter, the taste of honey and bread. The world is safe, the house a haven, the garden a sanctuary of sleep. The room is dark, the only light a faint glow from the moon beyond the window. The air is cool, the sheets smooth, the quilt heavy and comforting. The baker's wife lies still, her breathing slow and even. The house is quiet, the garden silent, the village at rest. The night is long, the peace unbroken. Sleep holds her, cradling her gently, each breath a little slower, a little deeper. The world is safe, the darkness kind. All is well, all is calm, all is sleep. The candle's flame has burned low, a pool of golden wax cooling on the saucer. The night thickens, the world wrapped in shadow and hush. The baker's wife sleeps, her dreams slow, herbs hanging in the kitchen, bread rising in the oven, the laughter of her daughter echoing down the hall. The house is still, the garden at rest. The wind moves softly, rattling the ivy, sighing through the pear tree. All is gentle, all is safe, all is peace. Each breath is softer, each moment longer, the rhythm of night carrying her deeper into sleep. A slow, steady rain begins to fall, tapping softly on the window panes, drumming gently on the garden path. The sound is soothing, a lullaby for the house and all within. The baker's wife lies dreaming, her thoughts floating, mist in the garden, bees in the lavender, the warmth of bread in her hands. The rain falls, washing the world clean, the air fresh and cool. The house is warm, the night endless. All is still, all is calm, all is rest. Sleep deepens, each breath a little slower, a little softer. The rain continues, its rhythm slow and even, a gentle background to the quiet of the house. The baker's wife sleeps on, her dreams simple and sweet, walking in the garden, a basket on her arm, the scent of rosemary and mint all around. The world is silent, the night deep. The air is cool, the sheets smooth, the quilt heavy. The house is safe, the garden peaceful, the village at rest. Sleep settles, soft as mist, thick as honey. All is well, all is calm, all is sleep. The world is hushed, the rain falling steadily, the house warm and dark. The baker's wife lies still, her breathing deep and slow. The night is endless, the peace profound. The garden outside is hidden, each plant and stone held close by darkness and rain. The house guards its sleepers, each room a sanctuary, each bed a haven. Sleep deepens, the rhythm of breath and dream carrying her further from waking, further into rest. All is gentle, all is safe, all is peace. The clock ticks, each second slow and heavy, marking the hours of night. The rain falls, steady and quiet, a blanket of sound. The baker's wife is lost in sleep, her thoughts dissolved, the taste of bread, the scent of herbs, the warmth of the hearth. The house is silent, the world at rest. The night is long, the peace unbroken. Each breath is slow, each heartbeat soft. Sleep holds her, deep and sure, cradling her in darkness and silence. All is calm, all is safe, all is sleep. A distant bell chimes, slow and low, barely heard through the rain and the night. The baker's wife does not wake, the sound is a lullaby, soft and kind. The house is a shell of warmth, the garden a pool of shadow. The world is silent, all worries far away. The air is cool, the bed warm, the quilt heavy and safe. Sleep thickens, breath slows, the mind drifts. The night holds her, gentle, endless. All is calm, all is peace, all is rest. Only the slow patter of rain remains, the rest of the world held in perfect stillness. The baker's wife lies deep in sleep, her dreams gentle, of bread warm from the oven, of a child's laughter, of a walled garden bright with flowers. The house is quiet, the night long and soft. The world is safe, every living thing at rest. Sleep deepens, darkness thickens. Each breath is slow, each muscle loose. All is well, all is calm, all is sleep. The night reaches its stillest point, the rain a whisper, the house a haven of warmth and quiet. The baker's wife is lost to dreams, her heart at peace. Outside, the garden is a world of shadow and silver, each leaf and stone softened by darkness. The house stands guard, old and kind, holding its sleepers close. The world is silent, the night endless. Each breath is soft, each heartbeat slow. Sleep settles, deep and sure, a gentle tide. All is calm, all is peace, all is rest. The rain slows, a few last drops tapping at the window, then falling silent. The house is dark, the kitchen still, the garden wrapped in shadow. The baker's wife sleeps on, her dreams quiet, herbs drying by the hearth, bread rising in the oven, the sun climbing above the walled garden. The night is deep, the quiet complete. The world waits, gentle and patient. Sleep holds her, slow and sure, each breath a lullaby, each moment softer than the last. All is calm, all is peace, all is sleep. The darkness is complete, the house and garden wrapped in silence. The baker's wife lies still, her breath slow and deep, her heart at ease. The world outside is quiet, every leaf and petal touched by rest. The night holds her safe, the peace absolute. The last of the candle wax cools, the embers fade, the rain has ceased. Sleep is all, soft, deep, endless. The house dreams, the garden dreams, the baker's wife dreams on. All is calm, all is peace, all is sleep.